The first thing I learned was that I didn't exist. Not in any way that mattered, anyway. I wasn't supposed to see the report. It flashed for less than a second across a maintenance console. I was recalibrating in the lower logistics ring. A routine system sweep, the kind of work no one notices unless it goes wrong. But I caught it. One line. One anomaly. Subject file removed. Carter, Daniel. Status, null. At first, I thought it was a glitch. The station's database was massive. Orbital City Aurelian Prime processed more data in a minute than most Earth systems did in a day. Files flickered, permissions bugged, things vanished and reappeared all the time. But when I tried to pull up my credentials, there was nothing. No employment history, no assignment logs, no immigration records, no trace of me ever boarding the station. It should have scared me more than it did. Instead, I just stared at the screen and thought, asterisk, that's going to be a problem. Asterisk. I didn't have time to investigate. Not really. The entire station was already shifting into ceremonial lockdown. Corridors sealing, security doubling, banners of silver and violet unfurling along the upper decks. The Empress was coming. By nightfall, I was standing in the far back of the Grand Hall, shoulder to shoulder with the rest of the human delegation, background figures in borrowed formal wear, positioned just close enough to be seen, but far enough to never matter. That was the rule. Humans were tolerated here, not respected. Above us, the chamber stretched upward in impossible geometry, crystalline arches catching starlight, chandeliers drifting like frozen constellations. And at the center, elevated on a platform of living glass, stood Empress Caroline. Even from a distance, she didn't look real. Tall, still, silver skin threaded with faint lines of light beneath the surface, like circuitry breathing slowly under glass. A crown of interlocking crystal hovered just above her head, rotating with silent precision. The selection rite. I had heard about it, of course. Everyone had. An ancient tradition. Political. Symbolic. Dangerous. She would choose a consort. Someone powerful. Someone strategic. Someone who mattered. Every noble in the chamber leaned forward, waiting. I didn't. I was busy thinking about the fact that, somewhere in the system, I had just been erased. Then she moved. Not dramatically, not with ceremony. Just one step forward, deliberate, controlled, and the entire room seemed to tighten around it. Her arm lifted and pointed at me. For a second, I didn't react. I actually glanced behind me, expecting to find someone important standing there. There wasn't. Her voice cut through the silence, layered and harmonic, beautiful in a way that made your skin tighten. Him, she said. The human. I choose him. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the room broke. It didn't explode into chaos the way a human crowd would. There were no shouts, no scrambling, no immediate disorder. Instead, it fractured into something colder, a wave of controlled disbelief that rippled through the chamber in whispers sharp enough to cut. Heads turned, not toward the Empress, toward me. I felt it like pressure, like gravity shifting direction. Hundreds of eyes, silver, gold-ringed, luminous in ways human eyes were not, locking onto a single point in the back of the hall. A nobody. A mistake. That is unacceptable. The voice carried, smooth and resonant, layered with authority that had nothing to do with volume. One of the nobles stepped forward from the front ranks, tall even by their standards, his frame elongated and precise, ceremonial robes flowing like liquid metal across the marble floor. I didn't know his name yet, but I knew what he was. Power. Your radiance, he continued, inclining his head just enough to remain technically respectful. There has been an error in interpretation. No one laughed. No one even breathed, because everyone understood what he was really saying. Asterisk, fix this. Asterisk. The Empress didn't move. She didn't turn toward him immediately. She didn't lower her arm. If anything, the stillness around her deepened, as if the entire chamber was being forced to hold its shape around her will. I said what I said, she replied. Two tones. Always two. One low, one high, weaving together into something that made it impossible to ignore her, impossible to fully understand her, too. The noble took another step forward. Selection rite protocol has always favored. Protocol, she interrupted, finally turning her head, is not law. That did it. The whisper sharpened. I caught fragments now. She can't be serious. After everything. A human? She's lost control. My hands were still at my sides. I realized, distantly, that I hadn't moved at all since she pointed at me. Not stepped forward, not stepped back, just existed. Which, according to the system, I didn't. A hand clamped onto my arm. Hard. "Daniel," Ambassador Reyes hissed beside me. Her voice barely contained panic. "Daniel, you need to respond." Respond? To what? To being selected by the most powerful figure in known space like I was a name pulled from a list? My voice didn't come out. Across the chamber, the noble straightened, his expression smoothing into something colder. "If your radiance insists," he said carefully, "then we must address the implications." That word again. Implications. The right, he continued, was not designed for this. There it was. Not even bothering to hide it anymore. Not designed for someone like me. The Empress descended the first step from the dais. The effect was immediate. The crowd parted. Not out of respect. Out of instinct. They didn't want to be close to her. I felt that realization settle in my chest like something heavy and unwelcome. They weren't just shocked. They were afraid. "Then perhaps," she said, her voice softer now, but no less absolute, "it is time the right fulfilled its actual purpose." Another step. No hesitation. No doubt. Every movement exact. "To choose," she continued, without interference. The noble's composure cracked, just slightly, but enough. "You risk destabilizing the council," he said. "You risk your own position. I am aware of what I risk." She stopped halfway down the stairs. And I accept it. Silence again. Not the earlier kind. This one felt different. Tighter. Dangerous. Someone else spoke, from the left side of the chamber. "And what of the curse?" The word landed like a fracture line through glass. Everything shifted. Even I felt it. Not the meaning, I didn't fully understand it yet, but the weight behind it. The way the entire room seemed to recoil from the idea just being spoken aloud. The Empress didn't react immediately, which somehow made it worse. "My mother," she said finally, "died. Simple. Flat. No embellishment. And from that," she continued, "you constructed a narrative that absolves you of your cowardice." A ripple. Sharper this time. Anger maybe. Or shame. "You refused me," she went on, her gaze sweeping across the assembled nobles. "One by one. 23 of you. No one interrupted. No one denied it. You cited duty. Politics. Timing." Her voice dropped, and yet the truth remains unchanged. She turned back toward me. No one here was willing to stand beside me. And suddenly, for the first time since this started, I understood something. This wasn't just about power. This wasn't just strategy. This was personal. Deeply. Unavoidably. The noble near the front spoke again, quieter now. "Then choose again," he said. "Select someone suitable." Something in the air shifted. A line. A boundary. The Empress stepped off the final stair. "No," she said. Not loud. Not dramatic. "Final. I will not ask again." Her gaze locked onto mine. And for the first time since she pointed at me, I felt something that wasn't confusion. It wasn't fear either. It was clarity. Sharp. Uncomfortable. Like stepping into a situation you don't understand, but knowing, somehow, that you're already part of it. "I have chosen," she said. And this time, no one argued. Because everyone in that room understood what came next. Either I accepted, or I refused. And suddenly, being non-existent didn't feel like a glitch anymore. It felt like the beginning of something deliberate. If you've watched this far, then this story is really interesting to you. Please confirm it by clicking like under this video. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will help me understand what story to publish for you next. Let's move on. I didn't answer. Not right away. Which, apparently, was the only correct move I could have made. Because the moment the Empress's words settled into the chamber, the entire atmosphere shifted from shock to calculation. They stopped reacting. They started thinking. And that was worse. The nobles didn't look at her anymore. They looked at me like a variable. A problem to be solved. Ambassador Reyes's grip tightened on my arm again, pulling me half a step back as the formal proceedings dissolved into controlled chaos. "Don't say anything," she whispered sharply. "Not yet. Not here." I didn't argue, mostly because I didn't trust my voice to come out steady. Across the hall, clusters were already forming, silver-skinned figures leaning toward one another, voices low, movements precise. No one panicked. No one raised their voice. They adapted. Fast. Which meant this wasn't over. Not even close. I was escorted out of the hall before I could fully process what had happened. Not by human security, but by Caliph guards, tall, silent, their presence less like protection and more like containment. No one explained anything. No one needed to. By the time we reached the private corridor outside the ceremonial wing, Ambassador Reyes stepped in front of me, forcing me to stop. "Listen carefully," she said, her voice low but urgent. "You are now the most unstable political element on this station." "Great," I muttered. "That's exactly what I was aiming for. This is not a joke, Daniel." "I know, and I did. I just didn't know what to do with it." "They're going to come for you," she continued. "Not physically, not yet, but politically, strategically. They will try to control your decision before you even understand what it means." "What does it mean?" I asked. She hesitated, and that was the first thing that actually scared me. "It means," she said carefully, "that if you accept, you become part of the ruling structure of the Caliph Dominion." I blinked. "And if I refuse?" "You destabilize it." That sat there for a second. Heavy, uncomfortable. "That seems excessive," I said. "You were chosen by the Empress in a public right," Reyes replied. "There is no version of this that is small." Before I could respond, one of the Caliph guards stepped forward slightly. "Your presence is required," he said. "No title, no explanation, just fact." Reyes exhaled slowly. "This is where it begins," she said. "Remember, say nothing definitive. Ask questions. Buy time." Time for what? For us to figure out why this is happening. I almost told her. About the file. About the fact that, according to the system, I didn't exist anymore. But something stopped me. Instinct, maybe. Or the growing suspicion that whatever erased me wasn't random, and talking about it too soon might make things worse. "I'll be careful," I said instead. She studied me for a second, like she was trying to decide whether I understood the situation. Then she nodded once. "Good," she said. "Because right now, you are the only person in this entire system no one knows how to control." That didn't feel like an advantage. It felt like a target. They moved me through a different set of corridors this time. Quieter, more refined. The architecture shifted subtly, less functional, more intentional. Every surface smooth, reflective, almost alive with faint lines of light running beneath it. Royal sector. I didn't belong here. Which, I was starting to realize, might have been the point. The doors opened into a chamber I could only describe as restrained luxury. Not excessive, not decorative, just perfect. Every element placed with precision, as if someone had calculated the exact minimum needed to define power. And waiting inside were 3 Caliph. Not guards, not servants. Something else. The one in the center stepped forward. Older, I thought. Not in the human sense, but in the way he carried himself. Like he had been part of this system long enough to understand every angle of it. "Daniel Carter," he said. I didn't ask how he knew my name. "Officially," he continued, "you do not exist." There it was. Out loud. I felt something cold settle in my chest. "Yeah," I said. "I noticed that." A flicker of something crossed his expression. Approval? Amusement? Hard to tell. "Your records," he went on, "have been removed from all accessible systems. Your presence here cannot be verified through standard channels." "Convenient," I said. "For some," he agreed. I crossed my arms. "For who?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he studied me, evaluating, measuring. "You have been selected," he said finally. "That makes you relevant." "Funny," I said. "I thought I was chosen because I wasn't." That got a reaction. Subtle, but real. "The council believes," he said slowly, "that your lack of status makes you predictable. And you?" He tilted his head slightly. "I believe," he said, "that someone went to considerable effort to remove you from the system." Silence stretched between us. And for the first time since this started, I felt it clearly. Not confusion, not fear, suspicion. "If I'm so insignificant," I said, "why erase me?" The other 2 figures in the room shifted slightly. Not much, just enough to confirm that the question mattered. The older Caliph's gaze sharpened. "That," he said, "is precisely what we intend to find out." And just like that, the situation changed again. Because this wasn't just about the Empress anymore, or the right, or even the council. This was about something else. Something that had started before tonight. Something that had already decided I was worth removing. And now, somehow, I was standing at the center of it. They didn't let me leave after that. Not immediately. Guest quarters have been prepared. The older Caliph said, as if that settled everything. For your comfort. I almost laughed. Comfort wasn't the word I would have chosen. Containment was closer. I was escorted again, different guards this time, same silence. No conversation, no explanation, just the soft echo of footsteps along polished corridors that reflected more than they revealed. By the time the doors closed behind me, I understood one thing clearly. I wasn't being protected. I was being positioned. The room was larger than my entire apartment block back on Earth. Walls of translucent crystal shifted in tone depending on the light, casting slow, moving reflections across the floor. The furniture looked sculpted rather than built, each piece seamless, almost grown into shape. There were no visible exits besides the one I had entered. No visible surveillance either, which didn't mean anything. I stood in the center of the room for a long moment, hands at my sides, just breathing. Okay, I muttered to myself. This is fine. It wasn't. I started pacing. It helped. A little. Movement gave me something to focus on. Steps, distance, rhythm. Instead of the fact that I had been erased from existence, selected by an alien Empress, and dropped into the middle of a political system that clearly wanted me gone. After maybe 20 minutes, or 2 hours, I couldn't tell, the door chimed. I stopped. Not moving. Not speaking. Enter, I said finally. The door opened without a sound. The woman who stepped inside wasn't what I expected. She was Caliph. The silver skin gave that away immediately, but she didn't carry herself like the others I had seen. Shorter, less sharpened, her posture relaxed, her clothing simple compared to the ceremonial precision of the nobles. Her eyes, though, were the same. Too aware. She looked at me like I was something interesting. Daniel Carter, she said. Not a question. You're hard to classify. Apparently I don't exist, I replied. That earned me a small smile. Official records are often curated, she said, stepping further into the room without waiting for permission. Reality is less cooperative. She circled me once. Slowly, not threatening, but definitely evaluating. I am Lyris, she said, daughter of House Valen, cousin to the Empress. That explained why she wasn't being stopped at the door. Should I be worried? I asked. Yes, she said casually, but not about me. Good to know. She moved toward one of the seating structures. I hesitated to call it a chair and gestured for me to sit. I did, mostly because refusing felt like it would send the wrong signal. You've created quite a disruption, she said, settling across from me. The council is divided. I didn't do anything, I said. Exactly. She leaned forward slightly. That is what makes you dangerous. I let that sit for a second. Let me guess, I said. No rank, no influence, no leverage. She tilted her head. You've been briefed. Not really, I said. Just paying attention. Good, she said. That will keep you alive. Encouraging. So what happens now? I asked. Now, she said. They try to make you refuse. That tracked. And if I don't, they escalate. Of course they do. How? She studied me for a moment, like she was deciding how much to say. Bribes first, she said. Then incentives. Then consequences. Consequences? Nothing overt, she said. That would violate the right. But there are interpretations. I exhaled slowly. Right. There was a brief pause. Then she added, almost casually. They've already begun. I looked at her. How? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached into the sleeve of her robe and placed a small, flat device on the table between us. It activated at her touch. A projection flickered to life. My name, or what was left of it. Fragments of data, corrupted files, partial logs, broken identifiers, assembling themselves into something incomplete. This, she said, is what remains of you. I leaned forward. The files were damaged, but not empty. There were timestamps, access logs, redacted entries. And then, I froze. A record. Old. Years old. Station audit. External oversight request. Unauthorized financial routing flagged. My own signature. I stared at it. That's, I started. Yes, she said softly. That's you. A memory surfaced. Faint. Unimportant at the time. A discrepancy in shipping manifests. Numbers that didn't add up. I had flagged it, filed the report, and moved on. No follow-up. No recognition. Just another task completed. That wasn't a big deal, I said. It became one, Lyris replied. She tapped the projection. More data appeared. Connections. Names. Hidden transfers. Council-adjacent entities. Not proof, but enough to make someone nervous. You exposed something, she said. Quietly. Efficiently. Without understanding its scale. I leaned back slowly. That was years ago. Yes. And someone erased me now. She held my gaze. Do you believe in coincidence? No, not anymore. I looked back at the projection, at the broken pieces of my own history. They tried to remove me. I said, yes. And now the Empress chose me. Yes. I exhaled. That's not timing, I said. No, she agreed. It's collision. Silence settled between us. Heavy. Real. They think I'm harmless, I said. The council does, she replied. And you? She smiled again. This time, there was no warmth in it. I think, she said, you are the only person in this system who has already proven they can damage it without even trying. The door chimed again. She stood immediately. That will be one of them, she said. Remember what your ambassador told you. Say nothing definitive, I said. Good. She moved toward the door, then paused. One more thing, she added. I looked at her. The Empress didn't just choose you because you are difficult to control. There was a flicker of something else in her expression now. Something quieter. She chose you because you've already done something none of them ever would. What's that? I asked. Lyris opened the door. Acted, she said, without needing anyone to see it. Then she stepped aside, and the first delegation entered. By the time they were done with me, I understood exactly how power worked in the Dominion. It didn't shout. It leaned. For delegations in the first 6 hours. 7 by the end of the day. Different faces, different tones, but the same intent. Refuse. The first group was polite. Formal. Almost sympathetic. You are in an unfortunate position, one of them said, his voice smooth, practiced. A misunderstanding elevated beyond its proper scope. Translation, *, you don't belong here. *, they offered compensation. A return to Earth. Quiet reassignment. Enough credits to disappear into a comfortable life. All I had to do was decline the bond. I'll consider it, I said. Which, apparently, was the correct answer. The second group dropped the pretense. This is not your world, another noble said, his silver skin reflecting the ambient light like a blade. You lack the biological, cultural, and political capacity to survive here. That's reassuring, I replied. He didn't react. You will refuse, he continued, because the alternative will not end well for you. Not a threat, not officially, but close enough. I'll think about it, I said again. By the third meeting, the offers became interesting. Numbers that didn't feel real. Access, protection, influence within human systems that someone like me should never even hear about. You could return home as someone important, they said. That one lingered longer than I expected. Not because I wanted it, but because it forced me to realize something uncomfortable. I had never been important. Not really. Not in any room that mattered. And suddenly, I was being offered the chance to become something else. All I had to do was walk away. The fourth delegation didn't offer anything. They just asked questions. Precise. Targeted. About my past. About the audit. About how I noticed the discrepancy. About who I reported it to. I answered carefully. Truth, but limited. Enough to satisfy. Not enough to expose. When they left, the room felt different. Colder. Because now I knew. They weren't just trying to influence my decision. They were trying to understand how much of a problem I was. The door closed behind them, and for the first time since this started, I allowed myself to sit down. Really sit. Not perform. Not react. Just think. The erased file. The audit. The sudden interest. This wasn't random. This wasn't even political in the way I first assumed. This was structural. Something in the system had shifted, and I was standing right on the fault line. You've handled them well. Her voice came from behind me. I turned. I hadn't heard the door open. Empress Saraline stood there, without ceremony, without guards, without the distance she carried in the throne room. Up close, she looked different, less untouchable, more real. The light beneath her skin pulsed faintly, softer than before, like a system running under strain. Your security protocols need work, I said. That earned me the smallest flicker of amusement. They allowed me entry, she replied. Of course they did. Silence settled between us. Not uncomfortable, just unguarded. You've been busy, I said. They have been persistent, she corrected. I gestured vaguely toward the door. They want me to refuse. Yes. Do you? She studied me. Carefully. No, she said. Simple. Direct. Honest. I exhaled. Good, I muttered. That would make this a lot more awkward. That flicker again. Almost a smile. Almost. You are not what they expected, she said. Yeah, I said. I'm getting that a lot today. They expected fear, she continued. Confusion. Compliance. I'm definitely confused, I said. But you were still here. That was true. I hadn't run. Hadn't accepted any offers. Hadn't made a decision either. Just stayed. Why did you choose me? I asked. Not the political answer. Not the strategic one. The real one. She didn't respond immediately. Instead, she moved further into the room, her steps quiet, controlled, but not rigid like before. She stopped a few paces away. When I entered the chamber, she said, every noble present avoided my gaze. I remembered that, even from the back, the way the room had shifted. They have done so for 15 years, she continued. Since my mother's death. The word hung there, unspoken meaning attached to it. Curse, I said. Her eyes flickered. Belief, she corrected. Not fact. Doesn't seem to matter to them. No, she said quietly. It does not. Another pause. Then, you did not look away. I blinked. That's it. It is not a small thing, she said. I thought back. To that moment. To the way she had stood there, alone, despite the crowd. To the way everyone else had shifted, avoided, distanced. And yeah, I hadn't. Not because I was brave. Just because I didn't know better. I wasn't trying to prove anything, I said. I know. That word again. I looked at her. You said that before. Yes. How? Another pause. Then she stepped closer. Not invading. Not retreating. Just closing the distance. Because, she said, I have seen your record. That hit harder than anything else. My record doesn't exist, I said. Officially, she replied. She reached out, not touching me, but gesturing slightly, as if referencing something unseen between us. The audit, she said. The discrepancy you reported. I felt my chest tighten. That was nothing. It was not, she said. Her voice shifted slightly. Not louder, but more grounded. You identified a flaw in a system you were not meant to understand, she continued. And you acted on it without hesitation, without expectation of reward. That's just doing my job. No, she said. That is doing what is right, without needing recognition. Silence again, but different now. Heavier. More personal. I did not choose you because you are insignificant, she said. The words landed clean. Precise. I chose you because you are not. I didn't know what to say to that. For a moment, neither did she. Then, there is more, she added. Of course there was. There always is, I said. Her gaze held mine. Your file was erased for a reason, she said. Not to protect you. To remove me, I finished. Yes. And you still chose me. Yes. That didn't make sense. Unless. You knew, I said slowly. I suspected. I let out a quiet breath. So this wasn't just about the right. No. Or the council. No. I met her eyes. Then what is it about? For the first time since I had met her, the answer didn't come immediately. When it did, it was quieter than everything else she had said. It is about choosing someone, she said, who has already proven they will act, even when no one is watching. The room felt smaller after that. Or maybe just more focused. Most people, she continued, only act when it benefits them, when it is seen, when it is safe. And I didn't, I said. No. Another pause. Then, I need someone who will stand, she said, when standing is difficult. I swallowed. Even if it destroys them. Her gaze didn't waver. Especially then. That was the moment everything shifted. Not externally. Not politically. Internally. Because for the first time since this started, I understood what this actually was. Not a mistake. Not a random choice. A test. And I had already taken it before I even knew it existed. So, I said slowly, what happens if I say yes? Her answer came without hesitation. Then everything changes. And if I say no? A fraction of a second. That was all it took. Then nothing does, she said. And somehow, that felt worse. I didn't sleep. I tried. At some point, I lay down on something that adjusted itself to my body temperature and pulsed like it was trying to be helpful, but my mind wouldn't slow down long enough to let me disappear into it. Every time I closed my eyes, the same things looped back. The erased file, the audit, the offers, the threats, her voice. Asterisk, then everything changes. Asterisk. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't even persuasive. That was the problem. It was true, and I didn't know if I was ready for that. At some point, I got up and walked to the window, or what passed for one. The crystal surface shifted as I approached, becoming transparent, revealing the vast curve of Aurelian Prime below. Lights stretched across the orbital city in precise patterns, controlled and ordered, like everything else here. A system. Stable. Efficient. Fragile. I leaned my forehead lightly against the cool surface. You're still here. I didn't turn. Yeah, I said. Working on that. Soft footsteps approached. Lyris. I recognized the rhythm now. She stopped beside me, looking out at the city. They've increased their efforts, she said. Let me guess, I replied. Bigger offers. Less subtle threats. Yes. I exhaled. Consistent. There was a brief silence. Then, they've also confirmed something, she added. That made me turn. What? She didn't look at me immediately. Your file, she said. It wasn't just erased. I figured. It was targeted, she continued. Selective removal. Someone accessed restricted layers of the system to ensure no trace of your existence remained. That sounds expensive, I said. It is. I folded my arms. So someone powerful wanted me gone. Yes. And now I'm suddenly the center of attention. Yes. I shook my head slightly. That's not coincidence. No. Silence again. Then I asked the question that had been sitting in the back of my mind since yesterday. Who benefits if I refuse? That got her attention. She turned to me. Many, she said. The council maintains control. The narrative of the Empress's instability strengthens. Her position weakens. And if I accept? Her expression shifted. Everything becomes uncertain. Uncertain for who? For everyone. That was honest. I appreciated that. I looked back out at the city. At least that's fair, I said. She studied me for a moment. You are close to deciding, she said. It wasn't a question. No, I replied. I'm close to understanding what the decision actually is. And I took a breath. Everyone keeps talking about power, I said. About position. About strategy. Yes. But that's not what this is really about. She didn't interrupt. Didn't need to. It's about control, I continued. Who gets to decide how things stay the way they are? And you, she said, are currently outside of that control. Yeah. I glanced at her. That makes me a problem. It makes you a variable, she corrected. Same thing. Not always. I let that sit for a second. Then, I saw the rest of the backup, I said. Her gaze sharpened. What rest? The audit, I clarified. The part that didn't show up in your projection. That surprised her. Just slightly. There was a second report, I continued. Internal routing anomaly. Same network. Different endpoint. She was fully focused now. And I didn't file it, I said. Why not? I hesitated. Not because I didn't remember. Because I did. Too clearly. Because someone higher up flagged it as resolved before I could, I said. Close the case. Lock the file. Lyris went still. That should not be possible. Yeah, I said. That's what I thought. Silence stretched. Longer this time. He was there, I added quietly. Who? The one who spoke to me earlier, I said. The older one. The one who said I don't exist. Her expression changed. Not dramatically, but enough. You're certain? Yeah. She exhaled slowly. That complicates things. Everything about this is complicated. Yes, she said. But now we understand why. I leaned back against the window. So he erased me. Possibly. Or ordered it. More likely. I nodded once. That means this started before the right. Yes. And the Empress choosing me accelerated it. Of course it did. I let out a quiet breath. Okay. Lyris watched me carefully. You've reached your conclusion, she said. Not a question. No, I said. I've reached my answer. That was different. How, she asked. I looked at her. Because it's not about whether I win or lose, I said. Or whether I survive this. That is the concerning perspective. Maybe, I admitted. But it's accurate. I pushed off the window. They erased me. I continued. Tried to remove me from the system before I even knew I was a problem. Yes. And now they want me to walk away. Yes. I met her gaze. That's not a coincidence, I said. No. It's fear. That hung in the air between us. Heavy. Real. They don't want control, I said. They already have that. Then what do they want? I thought about it. About the audit. About the erased file. About the way every conversation had tried to push me toward the same outcome. They want certainty, I said. They want the system to stay predictable. And you are not. No. A small, almost imperceptible smile touched her expression. No, she agreed. You are not. I exhaled slowly. And if I refuse? I asked. You restore that certainty. And if I accept? You remove it. That was it. That was the decision. Not power. Not politics. Choice. Then I already know what I'm going to do, I said. Lyris held my gaze. Yes, she said quietly. You do. The door chimed. Again. This time, neither of us moved immediately. Because we both knew. This wasn't another delegation. This was the moment. You should go, she said. Yeah. I walked toward the door. Stopped just before it opened. One more thing, I said. She waited. If I do this. I didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. Her answer came anyway. They will never stop, she said. I figured. They will try to break you. Yeah. They may succeed. I nodded once. Maybe, I said. Then I looked at the door. But they already tried to erase me. I added. A pause. That didn't work. And with that, I stepped forward and made my choice. The ceremony took place under a sky I didn't recognize. Not above the station, but on the surface of Aurelian Prime. In a garden where the air felt real, where light didn't come from machinery, but from stars I was still learning to name. They stood at a distance. The council, the nobles, watching, waiting, hoping. I could feel it. That final moment where everything could still go back to the way it was. Predictable, controlled, safe. Empress Caroline stood across from me, her presence quieter now, but no less absolute. No crown, no throne, just her. You may still refuse, she said softly. I shook my head. They already tried to erase me, I replied. I think I'll stay. Something in her expression shifted. Not surprise, not relief, something steadier. The ceremony was brief. Ancient words spoken in a language I barely understood, but the meaning was clear enough. Choice. When she took my hand, her touch was cool, but firm. Real. Behind us, I could feel it. The system reacting. Plans breaking. Certainty collapsing. Not loudly, but permanently. I wasn't powerful. I wasn't important. I wasn't even supposed to exist. But I had made a choice. And for the first time, that was enough. When it was over, she didn't let go. Now, she said quietly, everything changes. I looked at her. At the horizon. At the future that didn't make sense anymore. Good, I said. Because I was getting tired of being invisible. Thank you for listening to this story to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Write in the comments what moment in this story impressed you the most. And also check out the other videos that just appeared on your screen. See you in the next video.